And welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ+ daily evening television news, broadcasting live. And then we're available on demand. We're available on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, and of course YouTube and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news. It's Monday, December 5th, 2022, and we are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
Well, we begin with queering up breaking news. North Carolina power substations taken out by criminals. Were LGBTQ+ the target?
With temperatures here in the 30s, tens of thousands of people are without power here in Moore County. Those houses have to be cold. Several dozen have found warmth in the shelter behind me. Officials here say that the outages began Saturday night after two power substations were intentionally targeted and damaged by gunfire. This was intentional. Crews found signs of vandalism. Multiple pieces of equipment were damaged. Repairs may go on for days. The Moore County Sheriff said authorities have not determined a motive, but that the attack was targeted. More than 33,000 individuals spent Sunday night in the dark and the cold, with temperatures last night dropping to 34 degrees. And Duke Energy officials warn that restoring power could take days, making life very challenging, possibly until Thursday. A state of emergency has been declared here. County schools will be closed today, and the FBI is now helping local and state officials trying to figure out who did this and why.
Well, the LGBTQ+ community in Florida and the rest of the U.S. has been under continual attack. It has only been a few weeks since the deadly Club Q attacks in Colorado Springs. Last Wednesday, the Department of Homeland Security issued a warning of increased probability of violence towards the LGBTQ+ community. And this weekend, 4 different LGBTQ+ events were invaded by far-right protesters, often armed. The white supremacist group Natsoc, Florida, waved swastikas and White Lives Matter flags outside of a family-friendly art and drag event in Lakeland. Here in Fort Lauderdale, the alt-right group Proud Boys and Gays Against Groomers joined with the very anti-LGBTQ+ group Moms for Liberty at the intersection of Las Olas Boulevard and A1A to have an anti-LGBTQ+ rally. This is Fort Lauderdale. Here at Sunshine Cathedral, a Bible story hour with drag pastor Dragvina Scriptura found itself host to a Fort Lauderdale Police Department presence due to unspecified concerns. The second implementation of this event will happen on Wednesday. On Saturday, 2 different power substations, as you just learned, were attacked in Moore County, North Carolina. The FBI has joined in the investigation into the vandalism, which has been called intentional and targeted. And while investigators have said that they do not yet have any evidence of motive, many have speculated that the attack was an attempt to disrupt a drag performance known Downtown Divas that was being held at the Sunrise Theater in the town of Southern Pines, North Carolina. Right-wing protesters have been trying for weeks to get the 18 and over event canceled. The sold-out show happened despite the lack of power, with the drag host Naomi Dix leading the crowd in singing Beyoncé's Halo as they waved their cell phone flashlights. At this hour, there's wide speculation on terms of the association with the LGBTQ plus community of this intentional vandalism blackout. Queer News Tonight will continue to follow this story as it develops. And of course, 33,000 people are sitting in the dark. If the FBI is able to conclude, Department of Homeland Security will then get involved in it if they're not already involved at this hour. And the issue is the 33,000 people potentially are in the dark because there was a drag show in a rural town in North Carolina.
That's how much we're hated, Al. That's how much we're hated. Isn't that crazy? So more than 40,000 people without power. These are, you know, there are people that have health issues, right? That right now are having to be rushed to the hospital because they can't have their oxygen because they have no air. All right. It's winter time in North Carolina, guys. So it's 30-something degrees during the day. If that tells you how cold it is at night, over a drag show. That is how much we're hated. Al reported last week about this domestic terrorism that is being targeted towards us. And this is just four examples that you just gave us. And it's only begun.
You know, when I'm sorry, you jump in.
No, we have to remember that the pendulum of justice swings both ways. This means that we're doing something right. This much hate, this much attention means that we are bringing visibility to the issues that matter to us. And so we have to continue the fight. This is just one at the beginning.
You're so positive. You're so cute, Francia.
No, I agree that the fight needs to continue, and we need to bring the fight to those people. The people, including people like Tucker Carlson or the entire Fox News, who are trying to, who are alongside people like NTG and Lauren Boebert, or, you know, the person who runs Lips of TikTok, Twitter and TikTok. They are encouraging violence. They can say and sit aside and say, "Oh, I didn't pull the trigger," but you did. You pulled the trigger because of your words and your declarations on.
A la January 6th, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah. The only issue with this is that yes, we're making progress, but we do have to protect ourselves as well.
Absolutely.
Because the more issues that come up with it, the more that they try to fight back, it's going to elicit more out of other people as well. So it's like, well, yes, we are making progress. Protect yourselves, but also still stay home.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, and remember, we have to protect ourselves because there are events like Club Q and Pulse. These kind of events can lead to a single radical act that has very significant consequences. Two other quick points that I want to make that I think is very disturbing. Fort Lauderdale, we argue. Wilton Manors, we joke, tongue-in-cheek joke, that we're in the gayest place on planet Earth. Literally 5 minutes from this studio, this protest takes place over the weekend. Let's connect the dots. Proud Boys are identified by the federal government as a terrorist group, an anti all kinds of things terrorist group. Then you have groomers, Gays Against Groomers, which is a radical right-wing organization that espouses terrorist philosophy.
The name is
and then you combine it with Moms for Liberty. Yes. These three groups coming together is not accidental. They all have the same philosophical bent. So we should watch closely those people who associate with Moms for Liberty. Doesn't that sound nice? We're for democracy and we're moms. And the only thing that we need is an apple pie. That is a great marketing ploy.
It is. Yeah.
But you're associating with Proud Boys and Gays Against Groomers, which it is a white supremacist group. So let's make sure we make that connection.
Oh, yeah.
Then the second note that I want to make is about drag in general. This is a growing issue. We're sitting right now in a studio here at Sunshine Cathedral, and the Happening On Studios are here at Sunshine. And repeatedly, Faye and I were at Matthew Darren's magnificent event last night with the Fort Lauderdale Police Department across the street with their lights on. Last Wednesday, Darrell Watkins launches the Advent program in a clever tongue-in-cheek of a drag queen, a Dragvina Scriptura, Reverend Dr. Dragvina Scriptura, and it has the police at it. And the threats that have been made against LGBT and now religion and drag queens, and it's all centered right here, potentially right here at Sunshine Cathedral where we're sitting at this moment. This is not, in my opinion, it should not be taken lightly. This is something that we should pay attention to, authorities. I want to continue by saying I'm the anchor at Queer News Tonight, Al Ferguson, and this evening we bring you the news of and a perspective representing the LGBTQ plus community from South Florida, America, and across our planet.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens unique in LGBTQ plus news, you will see it and hear it.
Happening Out Television Network is a 501c3 nonprofit media platform in the television and radio model of PBS and NPR, but designed for our LGBTQ plus community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ plus media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
Our magazine is celebrating 37 years of the LGBTQ plus experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ plus and broader community.
Well, let's make sure that we know the anchors that are with us tonight, and let's begin by welcoming anchor FayWhat. She is a radio and television personality and has a popular blog and YouTube channel aiming to unite the L and the G together. She's a hostess and MC for many South Florida events, an animal advocate, and owner of Faye's Fur Family. Also, make sure to catch the FayWhat Show, the first LGBTQ plus morning show, Mondays at 9 a.m. Eastern online, or of course your smart televisions. And by the way, recently, as you've heard, Faye won the SFGN Best Local Television Personality of 2022.
Wow.
Congratulations and good evening, Faye.
Good evening, folks. Look, want to remind you that if you missed the FayWhat show this morning, I know it's 9 a.m., it's early, but guess what? You can watch it anytime on demand. I was in bed interviewing Howard Andrew, okay, and he is the head of Fab Scout. All you people out there, I know we all love gay porn, me too. This is where all the magic happens. I have to say a big thank you to the thousands of people that have already seen my reel about the behind the scenes at Fab Scout, okay? Watch the whole entire interview. You'll really enjoy it.
And by the way, congratulations, Faye. I believe that Moms for Liberty is starting the boycott of Queer News Tonight on the FayWhat Show right now. Good.
Right now, go for it. More publicity. That's great. More subscribers. Go for it. All right, let's continue. We're going to welcome Evyn Almanzar, a trans student at JP Taravella High School, where he recently started his sophomore year. He has been publicly speaking out as an advocate for mental health and queer student rights since the age of 12. A lover of writing and nature, who often enjoys both at the same time. Evyn was a member of the Don't Say Gay rally this last February, where he said, quote, "On Queer News Tonight, I want to make people hear us as a student body, as well as members of the LGBTQ plus community, and let them know how they can help," end quote. Welcome back, Evyn.
Awesome.
How are you, Papi?
It's great. It's so great to be back. I miss being here so much. But let's welcome anchor Francia.
Well, you have this minor little thing like high school.
Oh, yeah.
There's that.
That's it. I'm 16. Yeah, let's welcome Francia. They are an Afro-Venezuelan recording artist, singer-songwriter, dancer, lawyer, and yoga practitioner. Very long list. His first album, Infinita, is streaming on all music platforms and is a genre-fluid melange of Latin rhythms. Before finding his artistic vocation, Francia practiced corporate law in New York City and was a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. Welcome, Francia.
Thank you so much for having me. And I have a long list of friends to thank. I haven't been here since Thanksgiving. And I want to start with Francisca LaChapelle from Despierta América. Today, she started her natural journey, and I'm wearing La Peineta in your honor por la cultura. And speaking of La Cultura, I want to thank Mildred Gonzalez, Teresa Andelo, Ivan Morales, and Innovation Media New York for a glamorous invite to Gala Drama at the Intercontinental. It was a night filled with fashion and music by the Latin Grammy winner and Grammy winner Aimee Nubiola. I had a fabulous time. And speaking of fabulous, I want to give a shout out to La Gatita from El Vacilón de la Gatita from El Sol 106.7 FM from Spanish Broadcast System. She was wonderful during the red carpet at the Monitor Music Awards. We had a wonderful time. And also, speaking of red carpets, I just walked the Maxim Magazine red carpet thanks to the Wolf Effect friends, Lorna Montalvo, Nancy Santiago, Michelle Barrera, y Samantha Rivera. Thank you so much. And Rachel Salty, who was the first openly LGBTQ Miss USA delegate, interviewed me. So a huge kiss for her as well.
You hung out with a lot of Latinos. I love it. You were hanging out with my whole family there.
It's a good energy.
And now it's my pleasure to welcome anchor Dr. Bobby Huen. Dr. Bobby Huen is the owner and principal mediator of BH Conflict Resolution Services. As a certified civil and family mediator, Bobby helps individuals, families, and businesses resolve their legal disputes nationwide. Outside of work, Bobby is a gamer, a Lego builder, a foodie, and an art collector. He's always open to chat if you see him on the drive. Welcome, Bobby.
Thank you, Francia. Oh my God, I look positively boring for the next year. Anyways, we are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast. And here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Monday, December 5th, 2022.
Well, let's begin by queering up the USA view. History. As USA, same-sex households top 1 million for the first time. As per recent Census Bureau's annual American Community Survey data, the number of same-sex couple households in the United States has surpassed 1 million for the first time. There were more than 1.2 million same-sex households across the country in 2021, up from 540,000 in 2008, an increase of about 120%. About 710,000 of the same-sex couple households were married, and about 500,000 were unmarried. The number of married same-sex households started to outnumber unmarried same-sex households in 2016, following the Supreme Court's landmark 2015 Obergefell versus Hodges ruling, which effectively legalized gay marriage across the U.S. The release of this new data coincides with the advancement of landmark legislation that codifies federal protection for marriages of same-sex couples. Hawaii has the highest percentage of the same-sex couple households of any state at 1.4%, followed by Oregon and Delaware at 1.3%. The Census Bureau reported those statistics. The District of Columbia, however, blows every state out of the water at 2.5%. South Dakota has the lowest percentage of same-sex couple households of any state at 0.4%, followed by Kansas, Mississippi, Idaho, North Dakota, and Montana, which are all 0.5%. Not particularly surprising in terms of the individual states, because we congregate in certain states and we abandon certain states, and I think that that's what's reflected there, and good. You've left Mississippi, as you should.
I think
we don't know the numbers in Florida yet, but always I point out, first, this is really significant because business advertisers and economic power in Wall Street, etc., this is one of the key indicators. Relationship, partnership, traditionally defined as marriage, but we don't quite do it in that old-fashioned way. Whether you literally have the certificate, the legal certificate or not, you are a couple. And couples are the principal guiding business monitor of American enterprise, business enterprise. So this is really good news. And the other thing that I am always impressed about, Washington, D.C. is just kicking butt in LGBT.
Aren't they becoming a sanctuary city too, right?
Yes,
didn't we report on that too?
Sanctuary city, exactly, for trans and abortion and all kinds of things. So congratulations, Washington.
The data is very encouraging. So while I was a lawyer, I used to do pro bono work for a regional organization of LGBT folks working across Latin America and the Caribbean. I say hello to Somos Familia from all over Latin America. And part of our strategy would be to use these numbers from America in order to say, in the Americas, look at how we're advancing, look at the visibility of same-sex couples and households. And so we would definitely are going to use this data to promote our agenda across the Caribbean, Latin America, and the Americas in general.
And that's why it's so important to fill out that census. When it's census time again, folks, make sure that we are represented, that we are counting. I do believe that there's more than 1 million of us. I just really do. And my second thing, South Dakota, Kansas, Mississippi, Idaho, Montana, all places that I have no want to go. So enjoy yourself. You can keep all those states, baby. I'll take Hawaii.
Hawaii, New York, California. I'll take Southern Florida. Can we just cut Florida up, across the middle? We'll take the South. You can keep the North.
All right, it's time to queer up education. Governor DeSantis helped Moms for Liberty overthrow South Florida school boards with teachers and librarians next. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis helped members of the anti-LGBTQ plus group Moms for Liberties get elected to local school boards in Florida. Now the newly seated board members are repaying DeSantis by ousting school officials who dared defy his orders against school mask mandates during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. An educational anti-censorship expert says this development is part of DeSantis' plan to shift his state schools toward a conservative ideology. With Moms for Liberty in control, curricula will exclude LGBTQ plus inclusive and anti-racist education. Bridget Ziegler, a co-founder of Moms for Liberty, is now chair of the Sarasota County School Board. She is one of the 24 school board candidates to whom DeSantis donated $1,000. Most won their elections, Common Dreams reported. On Tuesday, Ziegler and the Sarasota County School Board voted 4-1 in favor of ousting Brennan Asplin, the superintendent of county schools. Moms for Liberty criticized Asplin and school board members in 2021 when the board voted to require students to wear face masks in schools. The vote defied DeSantis' executive order requiring schools to allow parents to opt out of mask requirements. Earlier this month, 5 members of the Broward County School Board, also supported by DeSantis' vote, DeSantis voted to fire District Superintendent Vicki Cartwright. Cartwright and her district has also defied DeSantis' face mask order. Let's start out by saying that by silencing queer history, we're silencing all history. So this is now calling for the reconstruction of the curriculum. So now we can't, we're not talking about fascism and international history. What are we doing? Not reading Letter from Birmingham Jail in English?
The goal here is really to, the goal here overall, the conservative goal is to create a curriculum that quote unquote don't make white students feel bad. Because they keep yelling about critical race theory, and I want to challenge DeSantis to tell me what CRT is without looking at a book, without reading out of a book. To tell me what CRT is. These people have no idea what they're talking about.
No,
they have no idea what even anti-racist education means
at all. No. At all. And at the end of this, great teachers and people that really help our students are going to be the ones losing their jobs. But who loses more are the children, are the students, are let's start with school board, then let's go to teachers and librarians. Like you said, Evan, who's next? Healthcare providers and people who help our community stay well.
And that's going.
That's next. Yeah. And that's next, baby. It's awful. It really is. It's just this is a world that we're in right now.
I'm always looking for the positive spin as you.
I know you are, Francia.
In here, let's think about an organization called Moms for Freedom, which actually helps elect moms who are progressive in the school board. He gave us this strategy. The strategy is you put funding behind these candidates, you push their agenda, and you get them elected. Whether it's a school board, whether it's a state office, a national office, that's what it takes. So let's take his strategy and use it for our purpose.
It's absolutely that. It's a popularity contest.
Yes.
Whoever has the most money, it's whoever has the most opportunity.
That's right.
So these people in these counties have these opportunities, and now they're taking over our education.
Go ahead. Sorry, this is not even the first time. Remember in Pennsylvania, this like a couple of decades ago, when Pat Robertson was trying to create a pro-creationist curriculum, they literally bust in people.
Jerry Falwell, moral majority was created
to vote for school boards to enact exactly that same policy. That's to wake up all people. We fall asleep, and then these people take over because we fell asleep.
There's 2, I think, big issues that I want to mention. First off, if Donald Trump went out on a limb and contributed money to candidates that represented the National Socialist Party in the United States, aka Nazis, America would be, a large portion of America would be up in arms. Even a large portion of the very extreme radical right would be pushed out to say, this is crossing a line that you can't do. Donald Trump cannot financially support candidates of the National Socialist Party. We've just reported a story where our governor did exactly that. 24 candidates he personally contributed to. What was the organization? Well, it's Democracy and Apple Pie and Moms.
And
Moms for Liberty, which we've already reported over the weekend that they held a demonstration protest at Los Olas and A1A in Fort Lauderdale with who did they partner with? Proud Boys.
Proud Boys. And if you see the flyer, Al, it's a mom with a kid and an umbrella, okay? A rainbow umbrella. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Governor has
hope that
helped
child is queer.
get 24 of them elected into school boards. It's crystal clear. Donald Trump could not do this for the National Socialist Nazi Party. Our governor can do it for Moms of Liberty because it's not Nazis. It's apple pie and motherhood.
Yeah.
So therefore it must be good to protect parents' rights, parental rights, and our children. This is all a lie. It is a structured lie. The second thing that I have to draw attention to, which to me is equally and perhaps even more important to this story. Queer News Tonight, the only LGBT news television news show in America, is doing this story about the governor of Florida and other related LGBT stories of how this is affecting our school boards, our teachers and librarians and book bans. And who told that story? A 16-year-old sophomore in high school who is a trans student. My goodness, this is a very proud moment for all of us, Evyn, because you represent so much of the future of our community, and we cheer that your voice is here sitting tonight to be able to tell that story about our governor.
I do have, like, just wrap that up, put a little bow on it. If we raise uninformed children, we are raising an unempathetic and emotionally unintelligent future. If that is the future you want, go for it.
The antithesis of the observation of you sitting here tonight, Bob. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So we continue by queering up South Florida and Florida. The best moments of Care Resource World AIDS Day are in entertainment. December means many things to many people. To the LGBTQ plus community, we start December off with World AIDS Day. The annual event began in 1988 to commemorate the millions lost to HIV/AIDS. Queer News Tonight partnered with Care Resource Miami, one of South Florida's most important LGBTQ plus and broad community health providers. Our broadcast was the first ever event held at the 7th floor open deck space overlooking Miami's beautiful Biscayne Bay. The special edition of Queer News Tonight led to a Care Resource tribute to World AIDS Day with the theme Healing Through the Arts, hosted by their communications director, Jonathan Welsh. Special presentations included Care Resource Executive Director Rick Sicari and major sponsors like Gilead. The special event included a who's who of South Florida dignitaries. The event included spoken word readings and awards for dedicated volunteers who have given so much to our community. A candlelight vigil remembered those lost to AIDS, HIV, and those people still living with HIV. A feature was an array of radiant art pieces and amazing dance performances. The live performances were hosted by John Buckley from Unity Coalition and featured United Ballroom Houses of South Florida. A highlight included an amazing performance by Daisy Dead Petals doing Vogue as Madonna. Queer News Tonight broadcast the event as part of the evening's news broadcast on Apple TV and Roku. The event incorporated the 4 pillars to ending the epidemic, including diagnosis, prevention, treatment, and response. A secret surprise was the interview appearance of Dr. Anthony Fauci. He spoke about Care Resource World AIDS Day and the importance of the LGBTQ plus community to bring us to the importance of this moment in time.
Well, the answer is very similar to what I said about the importance of fundraising. It just keeps the attention on this. HIV is not over, period. Remember now, we still have in this country a significant number of new infections, 36,000 new infections a year. We still have a situation where we don't have access to life-saving therapy to many people in different parts of our country. We have underserved groups. We have underutilized PrEP. Now that we have PrEP that can be given in an injection every couple of months and hopefully soon every 6 months, we can't just say it's over. It's not over. It's not over in the United States, and it's not over globally. True, we've done very, very well. I mean, the whole idea of undetectable equals untransmissible is a huge, huge positive issue that's occurred. Pre-exposure prophylaxis, now that we can do it in such a user-friendly way, is huge. But it's not the end of the game. The end of the game is EHE, ending the HIV epidemic. The end of the game is EHE, ending the HIV epidemic, which we really want to do by 2030. And we got to get back on track to get that done. Remember, that was getting 75% decrease in the incidences of infection by 5 years in, and 90% decrease 10 years in. We started it in 2020. We're behind pace for 2030.
Dr. Fauci doing one of his last interviews before he retires with us right here at Queer News Tonight. So it was incredible to be down here in South Florida celebrating World AIDS Day. Broward did their thing. We were in Miami at Care Resource. Thank you, Care Resource, for being so welcoming to us. They were just exceptional. But that night as a whole was just great representation. There was, beautiful spoken word. Paul Thomas did poetry. The House of Gorgeous Gucci was performing. Jamal L. Starks was leading the whole thing. Randolph Ward had a dance performance. Like we mentioned, Daisy Dead Petals. It was just an incredible evening. And what a way to really pop off that cherry of Care Resources roof, right?
Exactly. And you know what was interesting to me? I've been to about
148,000.
I was going to say, it started in 88, so I've been to about 55 World AIDS Days. And one of the things I really liked about this, Jonathan Welsh, the communications director, was the coordinator of the event, opened it. One of the things I really liked about it, and I was very proud of our participation in it, is it was solemn and respectful, but it was not, it
wasn't boring.
It was just that.
It wasn't somber.
I was trying to find the adjective. I can always count on Faye to get right to it. Thank you. I appreciate that. Because it was interesting. I have so much new respect for the House of Gorgeous Gucci.
Yeah.
They were just awesome. And Daisy Dead Petals coming out as Madonna and them doing the full Vogue video was breathtaking. The girl is so talented. And coordinating Madonna, by the way, the reason why that was very special is Care Resource began in 1983 as the Health Crisis Network, I believe. It started the White Party in 1985, which was the first major event as an AIDS fundraiser of its kind in the entire world, right here in South Florida. And one of the white parties that was held at the Biltmore was an all-white party, and Madonna showed up for it. And that's why I was thinking of Daisy Dead Petals in this moment. She's celebrating Madonna, and of course, in Madonna fashion, she came to the white party in all black.
Yep. What else did you expect?
Exactly. Congratulations to Care Resource and the entire community. The entire medical community turned out a great crowd for it and great support. And Dr. Fauci telling all of us, look, we have a goal of 2030, but it's not over. And that's why World AIDS Day is so important. Faye and I were there and we were proud to participate.
And I just want to add that if you are seeking treatment or if you're seeking PrEP, any kind of PrEP resources, you can find it online. There are many, many local resources where you can supply PrEP for free. So, just don't let the cost of it drag your feet. Go look into one today.
And I love the attention on diagnosis, treatment, prevention, and response. I want to focus on prevention. As we mentioned, we have so many tools. I was born in 1988 at the thick of the epidemic, and now we have so many tools at our disposal. So attention to prevention.
The shoes I'm wearing right now are...
And next, we're going to queer up South Florida and Florida, where we live. These Florida cities are celebrating 100% HRC equality ratings. The Municipal Equality Index, or MEI, examines how inclusive municipal laws, policies, and services are for LGBTQ+ people who live and work there. Cities are rated based on non-discrimination laws, the municipality as an employer, municipal services, law enforcement, and leadership on LGBTQ+ equality. The 2022 MEI is the 11th annual edition and rates a total of 506 cities on 49 different criteria. from every state in the nation. This report has mentioned 19 Florida cities that celebrate 100% HRC equality ratings. The report says, quote, over the past year, we have seen some amazing progress and many pro-equality advancements. At the same time, we recognize the ongoing onslaught of attacks against LGBTQ+ rights and lives. Now, more than ever, we need our cities and municipalities to be places where all people are guaranteed the safety and protection they deserve, end quote. Cities of Florida with 100% score include Wilton Manors, West Palm Beach, Tampa, St. Petersburg, Orlando, Oakland Park, Hollywood, and Fort Lauderdale. There are 3 Florida cities with a score of 90, which include Gainesville 96, Coral Gables 95, and Tallahassee 94. 3 cities have scored above 80, namely Miami 89, Miami Shores 85, and Port St. Lucie 83. Kelly Robinson, president of the Human Rights Campaign Foundation, says, quote, we are seeing shameful political attacks targeting trans and non-binary individuals, further fueling anti-trans rights stigma and putting already vulnerable members of our community at increased risk, end quote. And there's absolutely no surprise on who we're at the top. We have Wilton Manors, and I'm stating
the gayest place on planet Earth. We always make that argument.
Yep.
And I have to correct myself. On the first episode that I was ever on, I said Miami Beach was the gayest place in the world. Apparently, well,
no.
Now we have data.
It used to be.
Data. And so I'm announcing that I might be moving to Wilton Manors.
I
seriously?
see you in Wilton
I'm considering.
Manors.
I'm considering.
See you.
Oh, I see you in Wilton.
Especially after this.
You would be very welcome.
Great.
Here,
The rating is going to drive the property prices even further up.
That's too late, my friend. So, let's give a big shout out to Hollywood, man. A couple of years ago, right? A couple of years ago, I can't remember what their score was. I'm so sorry. But the fact that last year they brought it up to 100. They brought it up to 100. The LGBTQ council over there, they did their jobs. They made those phone calls. They hit the pavement. And now they didn't make that work just go away. Year 2.
There we go.
Bob Del May, Jeff Oliverio.
Yes, that whole entire crew. And here we go with year 2. Congratulations on making sure that score stuck, that it was not just a one-time thing. Thank you for doing what we all should be doing for our cities. Look at Miami Shores, 85. Come on, folks.
I was surprised about Miami being that low, like 89. And also, where's Miami Beach? Like, Miami Beach should be a separate municipality. So it's right below that.
Is the HRC municipality ranking for young LGBT, is that something you pay attention to or not?
I'm gonna be honest, not really. I saw this.
There's a whole cadre of HRC people that are going, they just passed out.
Yeah, I feel like it's something I should be paying more attention to, but as I'm seeing this, I'm seeing how many more communities we do need to get the numbers up.
Yeah, that's exactly
so many more. Coral Springs, let's go.
Yeah, let's zero in on the highlights of this report. Faye did the national report on this of the 120 cities, a record in 2022. 120 cities in the United States had 100% record. It's very significant.
That is really cool.
Very significant number. Now we focus on Florida specifically. First off, the real low points of this report. Daytona Beach, Florida had an HRC rating of 30.
Wow.
Now that basically means that you're burning effigies on your city hall daily to get a rating
Twice
of
on
30. So Daytona Beach, one of the biggest tourism destinations in America. Oh my goodness, there's probably a reason, I'm broadly stereotyping, but it's probably a reason why you're attracting Bike Week instead of an Art Basel or X or Y or Z, other things that you could do. Other big picture here is in South Florida. Palm Beach County has a city with 100% rating. West Palm, congratulations. Miami-Dade County, I'm sorry to just quantify it this way. There's no city that makes 100% rating in Miami-Dade County.
No.
Our most populous county in Florida and one of the most populous in America, that is unacceptable. It is just flatly unacceptable. The mayor of the city of Miami, and I'm calling out a tremendous advocate to the LGBTQ community, the mayor of Miami-Dade County. You need to focus on this. Miami-Dade County is being left behind in equality. Don't even get me started on the Cuban-dominated Hialeah and how low their number was. The great news in this is there's one county that has by far the most number of 100% cities in the county, and that's Broward County. Congratulations, Broward County. And you know what? It's not Dean Trentalis, the gay mayor of Fort Lauderdale. That's pretty much a given, although he would slap me and say, don't say that. Fort Lauderdale works real hard. Wilton Manors is the gayest city on planet Earth. They would slap me when they go, wait, we work really hard too. Congratulations to Hollywood, what you do. But I got to give a small town shout out to Oakland Park.
Really?
Oakland Park got 100% rating.
Wow.
And we're talking about Miami.
Incredible. But you know why? Because you were talking about the high, how much everything costs right now. Everything nobody that can afford Wilton, right? They all left to Oakland Park. And now
and
that
Oakland
is why.
Is saying, wait, we love the LGBTQ community. And love means equality, not special anything. It's just we all get treated the same. That's what the reflection of the 100% ranking at municipality.
I also want to show some appreciation to Orlando, where, of course, there are many LGBTQ plus workers from the major theme parks, especially Universal and Disney, where they are quite vocal about their civil rights, and so Orlando get 100. So congratulations to them too.
It's a great story, great for Florida. Everybody thinks there's so many not great things going on in Florida, and this is an example of, a lot of progress. Yeah, very positive. Absolutely.
And so now clearing up South Florida and Florida. LGBTQ plus rights and U.S. politics heavily featured at the United States' largest arts festival, Art Basel, Miami. Argentinian-born mega collector Jorge Perez believes that despite the chilling effect of the state's increasingly right-wing politics, Florida's low-tax, pro-business approach has contributed to another revival of Miami's cultural scene, which has mushroomed with the influx of wealthy individuals and corporations since the pandemic. Earlier this year, he wrote to Art Basel's management saying he refused to set foot in Florida for the Miami Fair this week after the so-called Don't Say Gay bill was passed by the states in March. Dystopia has become an all too familiar scene in U.S. politics, but Florida's shift from swing states to solid red and Republican-dominated is of particular concern to some of the leading cultural figures in Miami. Challenging issues are being confronted in exhibitions at Art Basel. Gabriel Longo set up his gallery Jupiter in March to give a platform to artists from different socio-cultural backgrounds. He noted the number of polarizing figures in Miami, but also points out how his colleagues in the gallery world, quote, tend to represent political values that completely contradict what the average Miami person thinks, end quote. The Dallas-based artist Leslie Martinez has showing a suite of new abstract paintings with the Texan Gallery and Now. Martinez said, their work emerges from the artist's trans non-binary identity and ancestral history in the Rio Grande Valley of Texas-Mexico border. Well, that sounds fun. Fun fact for people who are watching this, I have been going to Miami Artwork since 2008. I've been doing that every year nonstop, except, during the pandemic years when there was no fair. And it is always fun to see the diversity of artists. And this year is really brilliant. I went to a couple of the fairs. I didn't go to the main Art Basel fair because that one's quite difficult to get into. It's always a mob scene there. But it is this is 1 week there where waiting in traffic and battling it out with all the crowds is completely worth it to get some culture in Miami.
It's interesting, Thursday when Faye and I were doing at Care Resource, they're right at Biscayne Boulevard and
35th,
and 35th. And so everybody was concerned about the traffic, and I haven't ever been to Basel. And now I understand its importance 1st. It's a traffic driver in the entire city of Miami. And Thursday night, when we did the World AIDS Day, I hear the announcement for Art Basel, 100 Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 100% of all tickets were sold. It is the largest art festival in the United States. Quite amazing.
Quite amazing.
South Florida.
Like the first artist that you mentioned, Bobby, was about the only person who boycotted Basel, because Basel was just completely filled with just tons and tons of celebrities and everything. You know, it's the who's who of everyone that comes down for Art Week, right? But it's an opportunity also for artists that maybe do support LGBTQ+ to touch all these different people from all over the world and express their political values, their visions, whatever it is, in one place. You know, I mean, and the amount of people, the traffic that they get is just incredible.
I mean, queer artists are pretty well represented in these fairs. I mean, don't get me wrong, they don't necessarily have a section dedicated to queer artists, but you'll see plenty of Warhols, plenty of Keith Harings, plenty of many artists who are from known to unknown who show their work there, and it is fantastic, and I enjoy my experience.
One final note to my friend Dan Rios, who is one of the top LGBT tourism voices in America at Miami Beach's Convention and Visitors Bureau. He would ask me to remind you, plan on coming to Miami in December of 2023 because you don't want to miss Art Basel.
And this year we celebrated 20 years of Art Basel. So a commitment to Art Basel, and a quick thanks to Newly for dressing me all week during Art Basel. This is a subscription, a rental of
Charles, I have got to meet your friend because wait, we've got to move on. I'm sorry. We got to move on.
All right. Okay. So next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church right here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m. with more than 30,000 watching every week.
Hey everybody, I'm Brandon James from America's Got Talent, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
Well, next we're going to queer up business. Governor DeSantis says Disney its own blame for woes as a result of the Don't Say Gay law. Governor Ron DeSantis revived his feud with the Walt Disney World Company after Fox News host Tucker Carlson brought up the long-simmering battle. DeSantis and the legislature decided to dissolve the Reedy Creek Special Improvement District after CEO Bob Chapek vowed to fight for the repeal of the Parental Bill of Rights law that was passed in March, which opponents dubbed the Don't Say Gay bill. Chapek was ousted by Disney's board on November 20th. On his show Tuesday night, Carlson showed a clip from reinstalled CEO Bob Iger, in which Iger said he regretted Disney, quote, being dragged into battle over the bill. End quote. In response, DeSantis told Carlson, quote, we didn't drag them in. These are parents' rights, important policies in our state that are very popular. Evyn just passed out, by the way. They brought this on themselves. And yes, they're a big, powerful company. But you know what? We stand up for our folks. And I don't care what a Burbank-based company says about our laws, end quote. The call to strip Disney of its special status came after the bill passed and Chapek, pressured by employees, gay rights activists, and Democratic lawmakers for not taking a stronger stand against the bill. Earlier, he said that he would work to repeal it. The district is due to be dissolved in June unless the company and the legislature can agree to a new district one which may include board members appointed by DeSantis. DeSantis on Tucker Carlson. First off, remember, Tucker Carlson is like WWE wrestling. There's no truth, there's no reality. It's an entertainment show. It's choreographed. And so when DeSantis goes on with Tucker, it's like the title match going on. He blows a dog whistle, and I just point out on the dog whistle, when he says, the Burbank-based company, we don't have to do anything the Burbank-based company is doing. He is blowing a dog whistle like he does on drag queens, like he does on trans, like he does on everything else, to say, hate on them, blow dog whistle. Hate on Burbank, California, hate on them, blow dog whistle. And they're the issue. Instead of focusing, it's called gaslighting. The interesting thing is, and scapegoating too, the interesting thing is when he says Burbank-based company, he doesn't add one step farther, and if it was Al sitting there with Tucker, or Al replacing Tucker, I would say, but Governor, while the company is not Burbank-based, you're right, in terms of Florida, they hire far more employees in Florida than in Burbank, California. And then let him talk. That's not what's happening here. He's blowing a dog.
That white male ego, he just can't let that go. He can't. Okay, I'm going to go after anybody who didn't agree with me. That's it. Who's got the biggest penis? That's basically what he's doing. But the reality is, folks, that if Disney decides to pick up their company and get the hell out of Florida, Orlando will go bankrupt.
Actually, Orlando will go bankrupt even if the Reedy Creek Improvement District dissolved. The bond issue that is given to Disney, the debt is automatically passed on to Seminole County and Orange County and Osceola County residents. In other words, those three counties' residents are about to have a very big tax hike courtesy of Ron DeSantis. Moreover, if he thinks that Bob Iger is a pushover, he got another thing coming. Bob Iger replaced Bob Chapek because Chapek was seen as weak. Bob Iger was eagerly welcomed back by the board, by the rank and file
employees,
by the rank,
the LGBT that raised
members.
up in arms.
If you think that Bob Iger is going to sacrifice LGBT rights for some kind of concession for Disney, no, sorry, Mr. DeSantis, not happening.
It's humorous how everyone who has a different opinion to DeSantis isn't allowed to. They're going to be silenced, and that's how it is, because that's how he keeps his power. But it's going to cause so much issues on the counties around that it's going to fall on him.
Which is why we're trying to keep books away from you to learn, because we don't want you to learn what the First Amendment of free speech is all about. And if we can keep that away from you, maybe you'll capitulate to the king. And that's what's going on.
And they also want to take away joy. So Disney as a symbol of joy, do not let it. Your joy is yours. It belongs to you, regardless of external factors. So ground in that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, now it's time to queer up politics. Here's why 12 Senate Republicans broke from party to support same-sex marriage bill. 12 Republican senators joined Democrats in voting in favor of a same-sex marriage bill on Tuesday. A share of that would have been all but unimaginable a decade ago. That shows how internal party divisions have grown on the issue. The bill, the Respect for Marriage Act, would require states to recognize same-sex marriages and repeal 1996 Defense of Marriage Act, which defined marriage as between being a man and a woman. Since the early 2000s, both Democrats and Republicans have become more likely to say they support same-sex marriage. Just since 2015, the share of adults in favor of same-sex marriage has risen from 60% to 70% in 2021. This is also true amongst white evangelical Protestants, who make up a major block of Republican voters and are known to turn out in primary elections to support candidates who share their views. Republican supporters argued the proposed legislation would protect religious liberty, and as Senator Romney, a Republican from Utah, said, show that, quote, Congress and I esteem and love all of our fellow Americans equally, end quote. And Senator Mike Lee, a Republican from Utah as well, said on Tuesday, quote, I'm not aware of a single state in the United States threatening to pass any law infringing on the ability of same-sex couples to enjoy privileges associated with same-sex marriage, end quote. That's a lot. That was a lot of words, but the fact that they passed this and now we're protecting queer marriage is so amazing, because we have been so scared for so long that the marriage rights have been threatened, that I feel there's some sort of sense of security in that now.
I hope so.
Where that hopefully they're not going to undo that, and if they will, it's incredibly difficult now.
Well, we have to give kudos to those 12 who stepped up and said that morally they could not vote against this, right?
Yeah.
You know, and so like Bob Portman from Ohio, right? He's got a gay son that just came out 2 years ago. Just for his son, he had to. Right? He had to support. Mitt Romney was stated. Cynthia Lum in Wyoming, you know, she believes in traditional marriage, but separation of church and state is more important. You know, so people were able to follow their values, you know, and not follow their party.
Well, but bear in mind, out of those 12, 3 of them are no longer running. They're not running for re-election. They're retiring, so they can cast a vote however they wish. And if they were running for re-election, they probably would say no. And also, I want to point out that quote from Mike Lee is a big fat lie. What he said here was that not aware of a single state in the United States threatening to pass any law infringing on the ability to same-sex marriage. The thing is, though, all those constitutional amendments banning same-sex marriage are still on the books. If Supreme Court overturn Obergefell versus Hodges and allow states to regulate same-sex marriages again, those constitutional amendments that ban same-sex marriage will automatically come back into effect. What the Respect of Marriage Act literally says is that the individual states might be able to do that, but federally, they are not allowing those states to refuse recognition of same-sex marriages conducted in other states. So, for example, if Ron DeSantis decided to ban gay marriage in Florida after Obergefell was overturned, then my husband and I still married in terms of federal law, and DeSantis cannot say boo about take away our marriage,
health care, marriage benefits,
exactly.
etc. At the end of the day, you know, it's interesting to me. There was a lot of hating on protection of Marriage Act in the LGBTQ community, but I'm going to, in some quarters, an unpopular observation. The hating is we didn't get enough. Okay, well, I agree, we didn't get enough, but we did get a lot. And what you just summarized is DeSantis can't do boo in Florida. I am legally married, and DeSantis and Florida now, the supermajority that they have in the House, you bring it on. You're not even going to bring it on because you would be stupid to bring it on now. But it's not going to affect my marriage. And the issue is, if Florida decided that they would do something, or Obergefell was overturned and Florida would say, okay, because our previous law was gay marriage is not recognized, what you're going to do is you're going to go to New York and get married. You're going to go to Washington and get married. And at the end of the day, nullify anything that Florida would do. The one point that I would make is sometimes in our own community we can be radical in opinion. Our marriage is protected. It's not everything we wanted. We don't have the Equality Act. But for us to become, to speak in hyperbole, to say the world is still coming to an end, and that's being, it's not.
No, it's not coming to an end, although we should be very cautious about what comes next.
Yeah. Right. And going back to the U.S. Census numbers, it kind of tracks, right? In 2008, we were looking at 500,000 household same-sex couples, and it grew 120% to now. And that would have been, this bill would have been unimaginable back in 2008. And we can see that track. And one simple thing I want to share is that I officiate some same-sex weddings for friends, and I used to read from the Obergefell decision or for Windsor decision. And now I'm going to have a bill that's hopefully is going to have beautiful language that I can use for my same-sex marriages.
I was going to stop before Faye goes to religion. One other observation. Let's assume that Ron DeSantis is just batshit crazy. Let's give that opportunity. He's just batshit crazy. And he tried with the supermajority. Wait, there's nothing we could do to stop them in Florida. No. If he decides that we're going to ban gay marriage in Florida, done. There's no stopping him. He has a supermajority to do it. The question really is, the reason why the federal protection law was so important is he can't enforce it. So now the question is, are you batshit crazy enough to pass the idea that there is no recognized LGBT same-sex marriage in Florida with no teeth in it, but take on all of the consequences of national boycott. That's what we got. He's finished on this subject. Now, he's going to go after lots and lots of other kinds of things. We know that. If he's going to spend money on Moms for Liberty, he wants what he wants. But it's not going to be my marriage. He's not getting that now. It's important to make sure that we say that.
Yep.
We continue by queering up religion. Warren, Texas, as hundreds of Methodist Church vote to leave over gay marriage and abortion.
First Methodist Monroe, which sits on Loop Road, voted to officially disaffiliate from the United Methodist Church denomination on October 30th of this year. Senior Pastor Brian Mercer says the church is a congregation made up of over 1,900 members.
Approximately 500 people showed up to vote. It was required that 2/3 of the professing members who showed up on that day, October 30th, that over 2/3 vote to disaffiliate. A supermajority voted to separate from the United Methodist Church.
The church has been affiliated with the denomination for over 50 years.
The Northwest Texas Annual Conference of United Methodist Churches started like a regular church service. Participants sang, took communion, then prayed before voting to split from the United Methodist Church, the nation's second largest Protestant denomination. Presiding Bishop James G. Nunn said, quote, "We are a broken body," end quote, as he explained to his hundreds of congregants how the communion bread represented both the broken body of Jesus Christ, but also the tension within the faith. Nunn continued, calling the accompanying communion juice cups of forgiveness. He prayed for the congregation's mercy and forgiveness toward one another. She said, quote, "Even in the best of circumstances, there are feelings that are hurt, and sometimes relationships are rendered in two," end quote. The Northwest Texas Conference includes 200 churches from far west Texas up through the Panhandle. The Lubbock gathering included 145 of those churches, about a third of the 439 Texas churches that finalized their departure from the denomination on Saturday. The split, organized by more conservative church members, comes after years of infighting that stems from the UMC's more inclusive stances when it comes to congregants and its acceptance of gay marriage and other divides that mirror and are likely to intensify America's broader ongoing polarization. The measure in Lubbock passed by a vote of 261 to 24. And, you know, I have a feeling that a bunch of those Methodist churches that have gone away are going to end up getting a lot more LGBTQ plus congregants coming their way real soon. Good. If you don't like how things are, then break away and do your own thing. You know, I mean, it's freedom of religion, isn't it? We still have freedom there, right?
Yeah, but that's also why sometimes we ask, right? We see all these radical conservative activists speak out, usually a lot of pastors who speak out, gays must die, blah, 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 you know, preaching the message of hate. And then we ask, why are the mainline churches not saying anything? This is one of the reasons why they're afraid that if they actually speak up, the leadership speak up, the more conservative quarter of their larger network of churches is going to split. It happened to Anglicans. It's now happening to Methodists, and we're creating the fragmentation is going to continue.
Well, welcome to Queer News Tonight. It's December 5th, 1958. And the Southern Baptist Church has decided to allow black people in their church. And we're reporting today that 264 churches in Tennessee, Georgia, and Alabama have withdrawn from the Southern Baptist Convention. Good riddance. That's the exact same situation here. To the bishop that is saying, my goodness, I'm just in turmoil over the war that's going on in the Methodists, I know that this is a tough time, but as a person of faith, Jesus challenged you to be tough. And those people that want to hate and will do what they want to do to hate, good riddance to them. You will win the history tide of being right. And that's what equality is all about. And where that was proven is, could you imagine the Methodist convention saying, we're not going to allow black people in our church. And if we do allow black people in our church, we're going to withdraw from the convention. In 2022, that's unimaginable. In 1958, it wasn't. The same thing is going to happen here.
Good riddance indeed. And next we're going to clear up the world view. Jerusalem considers banning, quote, the abomination of gay pride parade, while Netanyahu says, I won't accept harm to LGBT rights. Presumed incoming Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says in an interview with a U.S. television network that he will not allow any harm to LGBTQ rights in Israel. Netanyahu said during the NBC show, quote, "I just won't accept any of that. It's not something I'm saying now. I have a record now, and a record in general of having two hands on the wheel. I'm going to safeguard Israeli democracy. I'm going to bring peace categorically, and I'm going to stop Iran. That's what I'm going to do back for, and that's what I'm committing to," end quote. Religious and far-right politicians who have compared gay people to animals and demanded an end to pride rallies are poised to enter the next Israeli government, sparking fear among the LGBTQ+ community. Netanyahu's comments come day after he signed a coalition deal with Noam MK Avi Maoz, a far-right anti-LGBTQ+ politician who says he wants to ban the Jerusalem Pride Parade, handing him control over extracurricular programming in schools. Religious Zionism leaders Itamar Ben-Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich have a long history of hostility towards the LGBTQ+ community. In 2006, the duo organized a Beast March, which saw opponents of the Pride Parade walk alongside donkeys in Jerusalem. And I do want to say the presumed prime minister's words are encouraging. The fact that he is assuring us that he will not let it happen, it's definitely encouraging. But as I learned from Al, we're dealing with a coalition that includes characters that have varying degrees of interest in supporting our rights. And so our hearts goes to the people in Jerusalem. May he commit to his word, and may he allow the protections for our rights.
The question is whether Netanyahu will give up LGBTQ community in exchange for votes. I mean, Israeli parliament is always a chaotic affair. You know, you have...
what do you think?
I think he might. I honestly think that this is a man who has the political lives of a cat. This is now like on his 6th life or something. And so he has been in and out of Israeli politics since I was in high school. That's 20-odd years ago. Oh my God, I'm old. But the problem is here, he now signed a deal with the devil. He is going to ally with the far right of the far right. I mean, we are talking about the same political party that calls for death to Israeli Arabs, that says that, you know, the West Bank occupation is completely legal and want to expand on it, and all other very hard right nationalist nonsense. These people are not going to compromise, and I think Netanyahu might just say, you know, let's don't have pride in Jerusalem. You can do it in Tel Aviv.
Why are you going to be such a downer, Bobby?
No, it really does make you wonder if he knows truly what he's getting into and the words,
and what he's saying.
And what he's saying, the severity of these words, because people hear words and they're going to take them seriously because they're coming from a major political power in Israel. So they're putting their faith in these people, and I'm hoping that he's not going to let them down.
Imagine somebody struggling and going through the roughest time of their lives, and they hear Netanyahu say, "I'm going to bring peace." Yeah. Okay, I'm going to follow this guy. I'm going to vote for him in hope that he will bring that I'm going to be okay. Yeah. He's going to let no harm come to LGBTQ. That's all 2 things I want, right?
I am no fan of Netanyahu. However, I would not bet against Netanyahu. Exactly as Bobby outlines, his long experience, he knows how to skin a cat in so many different ways. His experience compared to the Zionists, it's difficult to understand Israeli politics. Israeli politics has created a coalition to bring Netanyahu back where he's a Mitt Romney kind of seat for them, conservative, but a globalist in view. But in his same party, to get him in power, he's had to have the Proud Boys party support him too. Or Marjorie Taylor Greene's to support him, for him to be able to become prime minister. So it's a very difficult process in how they create these coalition governments. But I would not have bet against him. The Marjorie Taylor Greenes or the Proud Boys are saying we're going to ban the horrendous atrocity of a Jerusalem Pride Parade.
So horrible.
The moment that they take on Tel Aviv Pride, they have world war go on in Israel, literally, because it is the biggest festival in Israel. Tel Aviv Pride.
Wow. Not to mention the Middle East in general.
Yes, exactly. Right. So Netanyahu is trying to say, wait, I have a coalition government, but the Proud Boys are not going to tell me what we're going to do with my LGBTQ community. And by the way, that's exactly what Mitt Romney just did on the Respect for Marriage Act. exactly the same thing. One other thing that I think we should all take hope in, at least, an optimistic point. I hear you throughout the show. Be optimistic, be optimistic. Faye going, damn you, damn you. The optimistic point of view is, with his experience and at his age, why would he do this one more time? He's not Donald Trump, although he does associate with Donald Trump. He has a legacy to build, and he can't destroy an entire community in Israel, and that includes Jewish Arab Israelis. He's got a legacy that he wants to cement, and as a result, that means he is probably going to be very forthright in his thinking about what is going to happen for LGBT. And that's why Mitt Romney is so important to our community. And Collins in Maine is so important to our community, because we need those kind of moderates. Do we like them? No. But the phrase is always true. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's who Netanyahu is.
And, well, that is today's news for LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience watching this live LGBTQ plus news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including FayWhat, Evyn Almanzar, Francia, and Dr. Bobby Huen. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. But before we end our show, we have one final story.
And next, we are queering up the big interview. Behind the scenes of Hard Rock Live, GMCSF Christmas rehearsal, as Mark Kent talks about oldest and largest LGBTQ cultural group in Florida. The Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida brings live music and entertainment to the community. With more than 170 singing members, the GMCSF is the southeastern United States' largest gay men's chorus and one of the country's 10 largest nonprofit LGBTQ plus choruses. The chorus will have a concert at Seminole Hard Rock and Hard Rock Live on December 18th. This year, the organization welcomed to the stage Tony and Grammy Award nominee, Billboard chart-topping recording artist Shoshana Bean. Recently, Queer News Tonight interviewed the executive director of the Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida, Mark Kent, to discuss the upcoming concert.
Very excited to have this interview at the rehearsal of the Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida. They're getting ready for their gigantic Christmas concert December 18th at the Hard Rock Live and December 16th at Sunshine Cathedral. And of course, everyone knows here, one of the real leaders of the LGBTQ community in South Florida, Mark Kent.
Oh,
Mark,
nice
thanks for taking a couple of minutes here.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
First off, I want to talk about the news that is the news about the merger with Fort Lauderdale Gay Men's Chorus and Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida. Tell us a little bit about how that happened.
Sure.
What do you think about it?
You know, it's very exciting because I think the community for a long time has wanted to see some unity and cohesion between the two groups. There's been some confusion. And with their director, Gary Keating, retiring in December, they really were at a pivotal point, and it just seemed like the right time to make that decision. So they approached us and said, we're thinking about this. How do you feel? And we said, absolutely. We welcome you with open arms.
You know, we did a story about the Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida tonight in Queer News Tonight. And one of the things that we talked about is the choral music movement in the gay community started in the 70s as an outcropping of Stonewall. Today there are almost 200 gay men's and queer choruses around the world. Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida was always one of the big ones, always.
Yes.
But with this merger and what Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida is doing, you really have moved to the absolute cream of the top of the literal heap.
Yeah, you know, it's really exciting for us to grow in size, but as you can hear, also grow in quality. So we're attracting really talented singers, and we are among the largest in the country. We're the largest gay men's chorus in the southeastern United States.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
And we're about the 8th in the nation. So it's great company to be in.
Yeah. And I don't know if you've heard, we're gay after all, but I've heard the rumor size does matter.
Well, you know, bigger is better, they say sometimes.
Wait, your joke was better than my joke. So these Christmas concerts are coming. Tell us a little bit about what we're going to see. Sunshine Cathedral on Friday, December 16th, and then at Hard Rock Live on Sunday, December 18th. Give us a little preview.
You know, it's going to be an absolute celebration of joy and fantastic music. There'll be some traditional songs that people recognize, things like Noel and Little Town of Bethlehem and so forth. But then there's some really, really fantastic arrangements that put a twist on some traditional songs and some things that, of course, bring a little bit of camp and a little bit of fun to the holidays. So that'll happen in both concerts. But then at Hard Rock Live on Sunday the 18th, we're going to be welcoming Shoshana Bean, who is just a Broadway icon and has got pipes.
This year a Tony nominee,
yes,
and just very recently a Grammy nominee.
Yeah, we caught her at a good time.
Yeah, caught her at a good time, yes. Her fees went up
well,
in the last weeks.
You think I'll be having ink.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And so one of the things that I want to ask about as it relates to the chorus, you know, we make this joke about what's happened. You're going to return, you've been the executive director for a long time, you're going to return to the Hard Rock Live after a 2-year hiatus.
Yes.
The pandemic came in 20 and you couldn't do it. 21, we were all so disappointed because the concert was happening and relatively close. You had to make the decision, no, we just are not comfortable enough to do it. And you made the decision to go, no, we'll have to wait another year. And finally, that another year is here.
Yeah.
But it's been 2 years since you've been to Hard Rock. You've been to the facility. You've participated in these concerts. What does that mean to you to be able to come back to Hard Rock Live?
You know, Hard Rock has been a really pivotal relationship for us when we started with them 6-7 years ago. And they have really provided us that boost to the next level. They put so much of their energy and resource behind us. So it is very much a family feeling with them. So for us, it's like coming home. You know, Sunshine Cathedral is our home, and it has been since our inception. But it is really, we've grown up as a chorus through our relationship with Hard Rock, and we have just been waiting to sing again after that pandemic, just waiting to get in front of that live audience. So when we had to cancel, it was devastating.
Yeah, 2 years of pandemic. That for me is a top reason to be at this concert.
Absolutely,
to have that experience of Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida coming back. One of the things, let me pitch for it. You know, there's Washington's chorus, there's Boston, there's Chicago, there's Los Angeles, there's San Francisco, there's Seattle, but they don't have the Hard Rock Live, and their Christmas events might not be quite as spectacular in terms of venue. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean,
dish on them for me.
Well, they do fantastic work. They do fantastic shows, and they've been around for decades. But whenever I do meet with my colleagues, and those of us in the 12 largest chorus, we get together regularly and talk. When I talk with them that we have Hard Rock Live as a venue for our holiday concerts, they are blown away. You know, particularly this incredible new multi-million-dollar facility, to have that as a resource is an incredible gift.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. It's gorgeous. We sound good there. It's a good thing.
You know, my last question, Mark, is really kind of a business-related question.
Sure.
We've talked at Queer News Tonight over the last 2 years that our nonprofit organizations, our cultural institutions in the LGBTQ community have taken it directly on the chin. You can't gather, you can't perform, you can't entertain. It's difficult to raise money, and you can't sell tickets.
Yes.
Tell everyone now that you've come back and it looks like we're on a good path. What can the LGBTQ community in South Florida do for the Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida? How can we help? How can we support?
You know, show up, be in the audience, buy tickets. That leads to donations and everything else, but the magic of our mission happens when our guys sing to the public and we have full houses full of energy. And right now we need that sense of community. We need to reinforce who we are collectively. And being at our concerts achieves that. We see it year after year, concert after concert.
Yeah.
So that's they can show up, they can buy tickets, and then hopefully they'll move on to supporters. I'm confident they will.
Yeah.
I'm confident they will.
Yeah, I know the South Florida gay community and the broad community as a whole is going to show up and support. Executive Director Mark Kent of the Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida. These huge Christmas concerts coming. Friday night, December 16th at Sunshine Cathedral. Sunday night, December 18th at Hard Rock Live. It has been absent for 2 years. It's going to be exciting. How do we get tickets?
You just go to our website, www.gmcsf.org, and you can find ticket links right there when you log in.
You know, and I don't know if I'm the first person to tell you, but you might have a future in broadcasting.
Not as long as there's Al Ferguson around.
All right, well, it's going to be exciting. Make sure you show up. Gay Men's Chorus of South Florida, these amazing Christmas concerts. Mark, thanks so much for being with us and allowing us to get this little sneak peek at one of your rehearsals.
Well, thank you for what you do for the community and for the arts and for us. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for being with Queer News Tonight. LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out television network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe.